Hi everybody, thanks for watching my channel. Please help me grow my channel by subscribing, sharing, liking, and comment. A lot of you watch my content, so please subscribe. It's free and would help me a lot. With that said, enjoy today's story. Grandpa's Haunted House. The sun hung low in the sky as I approached my grandpa's house. It loomed ahead like a dark sentinel, its red brick exterior weathered by time, the paint peeling off the wooden window frames like flakes of dead skin. I remember it well from my childhood, countless summers spent chasing fireflies in the backyard while listening to the creaking floorboards inside. Back then, it felt cozy, filled with the warmth of familiar stories and the smell of apple pie. But now, as the autumn winds whispered through the trees, an unsettling feeling welled up within me. It was early evening when I arrived, and a chill licked at my skin. The gray brick road stretched ahead, cracked and uneven, shadows pooling in its depths. I parked my car, stepping into the fading light. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and decaying leaves. As I approached the front door, I felt an odd reluctance, as if the house were silently beckoning me to stay away. The door creaked open at my touch, revealing the familiar darkened hallway. Dust motes danced in the shafts of light filtering through the slightly ajar window. My footsteps echoed against the bare walls. Everything appeared undisturbed, yet I couldn't shake off a sense of erosion, as though time had stopped inside. Grandpa had passed away several years prior, leaving me with the house and the task of deciding what to do with it. I moved past the living room, where the old armchair sat vacant, its upholstery faded and fragile. A chill ran down my spine as I recalled the stories Grandpa used to tell while sitting there, his voice enveloping us like a warm blanket. But he had always warned me never to stray too far from the light, a metaphor, I thought, for life and its dangers. I chuckled nervously at the memory, how innocent we were back then. Night fell quickly, cascading over the house like a weight. The only sound in the air was the creaking of the old timbers, the wind whispering discontent outside, rattling the windows. I prepared myself a simple dinner, the clatter of plates loud against the backdrop of silence. After eating, I decided to explore the attic, a place that had always intrigued me yet terrified me in equal measure. As I ascended the narrow staircase, an ominous darkness enveloped me. The attic door resisted slightly, as if holding back the memories of years gone by. When I finally pushed it open, a gust of stale air hit my face. The attic was cluttered with dust-laden boxes covered in sheets, remnants of my family's past shrouded in neglect. I felt like an intruder in a time capsule yearning to be untouched. I began rummaging through the boxes, uncovering relics from another era, old clothes, yellowed photos, forgotten toys. But it was when I reached the back corner that I found something unexpected, a small, ornate mirror. Its frame was intricately carved, the glass clouded and tarnished. I wiped its surface with the edge of my shirt, revealing my reflection. Beneath my nervous smile, something shifted, a flicker in the darkness behind me. The attic felt suddenly colder, the shadows stretching and contorting into forms that danced just out of sight. My heart raced as I spun around, but there was nothing there, only the silence of the night and the soft rustle of the wind outside. I let out a shaky breath, reassuring myself that I had indeed imagined it. Yet, unease crept back, rendering my instincts restless. In a fit of courage, I decided against retreating to the ground floor. There was something compelling about the attic, an invisible pull that urged me to stay. I resumed my exploration, shifting a heavy trunk to reveal more old toys and weathered books. And then, there it was again, a fleeting glimpse of movement. I turned, and there, in the mirror's reflection, I saw her, a fleeting figure with long, dark hair standing just behind me. I whirled around, but the attic was empty. Panic surged through my veins. The house began to breathe around me, the walls groaning as if sharing in my terror. I tried to rationalize what I had witnessed, a trick of the light, a figment of my imagination, but the cold grip of fear tightened around my throat. I decided enough was enough, the attic was too unsettling, and I needed to leave. As I hastily crafted an escape plan, the atmosphere shifted. The shadows deepened, elongating, merging into a singular darkness that seemed to pulse with an increasing intensity. I glanced back at the mirror one final time, and my breath caught in my throat. The figure was there again, only this time her face was clearer, twisted in a silent scream, a visage of agony and desperation. "Let me out," I whispered, desperation spilling from my lips. I turned to flee, but the attic door slammed shut as though the house itself were performing a final act of retribution. Panic gripped me as I banged against the door, pleading to be let free. Then there was silence, an unnatural stillness that swallowed my screams. I could feel the darkness enveloping me, creeping over my limbs like a suffocating blanket. Heart pounding, I turned back to the mirror, catching glimpses of the figure behind me, a rope hanging, a child wailing, and the face of my grandfather in terror, pointing towards the door. In that moment of realization, I understood the stories he told were not warnings against external threats but a caution against the numbing encroachment of the past. That figure was a lost soul, an echo of an unresolved tragedy that had taken residence in his beloved home. And it wanted me. The mirror rippled, and in its haunting reflection, I saw something even more horrifying. The ghastly visage of the girl turned to me, eyeing me with an insidious hunger. As my own reflection faded into shadows, the walls whispered sinuous secrets, the house was alive, feeding on my fear, ensnaring my essence. And then, in a final moment of despair, I felt myself slipping, my body becoming weightless, drifting into the dark. The last echoes of my grandfather's caution reverberated in my mind, lost against the darkness as the house was attempting to reclaim what was once its own. I ran out of there as quick as I could, never to return to that attic again. I only visited Grandpa's house a couple times after that, but only stayed a few minutes, but never got close to that attic again. As time goes by, I sometimes wonder if it was all real. But one thing is for sure. I will never go back to find out. I sold that house with everything in it. Some things are better just left alone.